We're going to keep it simple. My name is Eric Emanuel. I used to be 500 pounds. If that doesn't intrigue you or interest you to keep listening when I'm now 200, maybe you're just a fan of wrestling. Maybe you had somebody in your life, a dad, an uncle, a grandpa, that just tried to share the love of wrestling. Maybe you thought they were weird, creepy. Maybe you thought wrestling was fake or scripted and you didn't like it. Maybe too late in life you had somebody, when you thought they were going to lose them, you truly started paying attention to wrestling and you understood why they fell in love with it. I went on the internet as Tubby Emu. I was this character that was started because I was trying to get into Call of Duty. I couldn't do it. I saw an opening and I made wrestling content for WWE and Machinima. But it was deep-seated in this root of love for professional wrestling. And there's somebody on the screen behind me. This is how low-key we're going to keep the videos. When I come home once a week, I'm going to talk about something I love. And this week is just wrestling in general and where my love for wrestling came from. And that's what this story time is, because maybe you send this video to the person that got you into wrestling, and you just sit there and go, wow, look how far we've came. My dad was still calling me up to 5 or 7 years ago to ask, is that thing with Cena real? A 50, 60 plus year old dude who's been through hell and back, still just watching it for entertainment. And here's me, the guy that took over the internet, ballooned up to 500 pounds, was authentic as heck being sponsored by Pizza Hut. Now it'd be great if companies like Quest or Premier Protein could sponsor me, because it'd save me money. I'm very broke. Tax consulting firm would be cool. Actually, like wrestling, the American dream, a job. I think that's where my personal story got caught up for so many years. I watched my parents struggle. I watched my dad, like somebody like Nick Bockwinkel, go up against the man. You would see him, the elite boss, the rich people, protected by the class. And there was something about this match that, if you don't know about this match, or if you have no idea who I'm talking about, maybe you're younger, maybe the person that sent you this video is like, Nick who? Nick Bockwinkel? Yeah, Dusty Rhodes? Maybe you only know him as Cody's dad. Maybe you only knew him as the person that trained some of your favorites in NXT. Maybe you've been watching the Hall of Fame packages and you respect a legend. Maybe you're one of the people that you didn't dive super deep into wrestling, so you just make those quick connections. You know, when you make a connection with somebody in life, that you meet somebody and you just like go, oh, Eric, wrestling. So the next time I see him, hey, Eric, how's wrestling been? You have something to talk about, right? Now, is that an invitation to eventually know that Eric could go off and talk about 53 wrestling things I know nothing about? Absolutely. But it's that quick initial sticking point. So Dusty Rhodes is this guy that's just trying to bust his ass into work. Kind of like my dad, who falls in love with wrestling. And his thing, his obsession in wrestling, I don't know if this is petty. Maybe you all know about this. Then if you know about Vern Gagne, Vern Gagne was a promoter in the Midwest. Tell me about him. Actually, if you could tell me stories, I don't want you to comment if you're young. Go find your dad and grandpa. They leave comments in the YouTube section, like paragraphs, just like, back in my day. And all the young people are like, oh my God, dislike the comment. I'm sitting there reading and going, actually, I'm trying to learn about that. If you could actually have them comment, that'd be great. The funny thing is about when I think about these matches and why my dad fell in love with them, my dad, I always thought was crazy. But when I paid attention, because he fell for the plots in wrestling, me not realizing he actually understood what was happening. For those that don't know, and you're like, Cody's got to win and finish the story. Here's the thing, man. Dusty didn't finish the story. How did Dusty keep asses in seats? You paid to come see him win, and he looked damn good doing it. This match, the entire concept, if I can break it down, please go watch this match and tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I'm the guy that tells you about the payoff on YouTube for 10 years. And even though I was right about Roman Reigns and everybody else, I did it the wrong way. I tried to shove it down your throat when the entertainment to you on the TV, the show just sucked. Now you're all like, the bloodline is cinema. A cinema wouldn't have happened without shoving down your throat the last 5 to 7 years, which is what I kept saying. Just like this stuff. Guys like Nick Bockwinkel, who are on the top, who are champions, who are protected, who are the elite class, who go up against the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, daddy. And in the match, Nick Bockwinkel is basically using the referee to be like, hey, watch Dusty. He's a little shady, man. He's like an American, like he's just like a normal person. You should watch him. He's a little sketchy. So the referee's paying more attention to Dusty. And late in the match, when it's just about to be over, and the big key is Nick Bockwinkel all match made Dusty Rhodes look like $1,000,000. The best champions do. My God. Ric Flair, MJF, the people that do it do a damn good job. In the match, there's a slight moment when he finally has the referee pay attention to him. And Nick Bockwinkel's able to take advantage. And Cowboy Bob Orton, another guy I've just heard on TV religiously my entire life, and he comes on screen, and I just fall in line like a propaganda machine, like, yeah, Cowboy Bob Orton. Couldn't tell you one match he's ever been in, but, well, guess what? I finally saw something with Cowboy Bob Orton. It was him using the cast, which I always knew, right? Like, you associate those really quick things, like, okay, Cowboy Bob Orton, Randy's dad, I like Randy, so, okay, I should know his dad, that's pretty cool. I don't really care because I'm not going to go back and watch Cowboy Bob, but that's awesome to know he's his dad. Third generation superstar? Oh, that's even better, that's awesome. Because it builds, like, the lineage of Randy to make me care more about Randy as a writer. But did it ever make me go watch him? No. And I regret it because in the match, he uses the cast and allows Nick Bockwinkel to get the win and retain. And Dusty is right there all beaten. He's battered, he's bruised, he's bleeding like a stuffed pig, daddy. And here's the thing. My dad saw it for exactly what that was. And I, for so many years, just looked at it as, well, I didn't look at it for anything. My dad would wake me up when I was 1 and literally watch WCW reruns because he would fix video games late at night. Not the PS1s or 2s like all my friends would ask me, like actual arcade games, pokers, video games. And there's something about that builds memory where you want to connect with your parents. And you fall in love with the thing they do, but you want to be a writer. So you fall in love with wrestling, but it turns out you don't fall in love with wrestling because of the reasons everybody else does. It turns out you actually like the stuff that other people hate, like John Cena and Baron Corbin and like all my favorite stuff in the last 8 to 10 years has been the stuff I've had to argue with people online about. And that's why I quit YouTube, because I don't want to argue about stuff I like. I don't need to tell you about why the payoff is going to matter for guys that haven't got the shots. We argued about Nakamura, AJ Styles, everybody. But yet we missed the fact that they're just career guys that were trying to get to WWE. They're there. They're going to be there for 10 years. There's no rush. Nakamura's got a Lil Uzi Vert song, and if AJ Styles hadn't got injured, he could have been going to WrestleMania maybe. I think we're at a point right now where we just need to have fun. And I'm thankful my dad got me into professional wrestling. So whoever got you into wrestling, whatever the story was, for my dad to give you the closer, it was Vern Gagne. But it wasn't just Vern Gagne. It was Greg Gagne. He is obsessed. He will not shut up. God, Greg got all the opportunities. He just gave him them. That's wrestling. That's nepotism. That's awesome. And then I went and watched some of Vern and Greg, and I immediately went, yeah, there's that chicken shit. That's what my dad was talking about. And Greg played it perfectly. Because my dad's an idiot. He fell for a hook, line, and sinker. So Greg Gagne, all I heard was how bad you were growing up. No, you're damn good, kid. And this is coming from me. So, whatever that means. Thank you to Vern, to Greg, to everybody that made my dad fall in love with wrestling. Because it made me fall in love with wrestling. Made me do rock bottoms to pillows, 5-star frog splashes, stone cold stunners. But it also made me realize that I watched WWE with the Attitude Era for what it was. you were rebelling against your boss. You were getting one up over on him. But the conclusion to that payoff is the robots and the AI and everything that's coming when they're able to squash out the workers and maximize the ones they do have's value. And that's where we're at in 2023. All the best storylines, when the TV deals are now the biggest and the most money's on the line as they're bought out as $1 billion companies, they get to cash in on all that fan goodwill that they kept along the way. And I wouldn't change it for anything because I can afford to watch WWE, man. AEW's gatekeeping. I can't afford to watch pay-per-views anymore in AEW. It sucks. So I gotta find friends to watch wrestling with. So that's my next task. If this week's video is talking about what got me into wrestling, it's what's gonna keep me going back to wrestling next week. So until then, I'm Eric Emanuel. Hopefully, you're able to rekindle some of your memories of wrestling. Hopefully you went and watched Nick Bockwinkel versus, I was going to say Greg Gagne because now I got him on the mind. I'm obsessed. I got to go watch some Greg Gagne. Do you have a favorite Greg Gagne clip? Because I don't even know who the dude is. I just watched the one clip where he's like, hey, oh, no, don't touch me now. I'm like, that's awesome. I didn't need more than that. I was just like, I got his essence. I'm like a Swiftie. I'm like, I got it. Don't need any more. But the person would be like, no, you don't understand. Greg does these 43 other things. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I got it. He's awesome. You don't need to sell me on it. That's me. When I see something that I like, I'm like, yes. You don't need to keep hitting me with it. I'm just going to go, yes. Actually, we're going to talk about that in the next one. When I find friends to go to wrestling with. Because you know how hard it is to get a friend to go to wrestling? We've talked about in this video about people that got you into wrestling. How the hell do you get friends to go that don't care about it? I got some tips and tricks. And if you have any tips and tricks, make sure to let me know. But I got some good ones that's going to get you some friends to go to wrestling that never would. Stay tuned. Until next time, I'm Eric Emanuel. I appreciate y'all. Peace. I can't edit this video. I don't think I have Adobe, so we'll just end it and say until next time.